choose an attitude, you have only two choices. Do you want to have a positive attitude or a negative attitude? No other consideration will affect this end result. Now look how this works. If you choose a goal that is appropriate for you, and you choose to have a positive attitude, you will motivate yourself to act in a way in which you'll be very successful in creating a life experience that becomes satisfying. You will like that. But if you choose a goal that's not appropriate for you, or if you choose to have a negative attitude, you'll motivate yourself and you will act, but the machine now starts moving in a different direction. You'll be very successful at creating a life experience that becomes very dissatisfying. Now let me give you an example. I had students who came into my class and they had a positive attitude. They were just thinking, oh, maybe I can learn something in this class. They picked up the goals that I gave them, which of course were appropriate. They motivated themselves, they acted, they became very successful, created a life experience that became very satisfying. It's called A. Please note, this is the effect. The cause is here in the choices they made. Now I had some other kind of kids. You know, the ones that they come into the classroom and they usually sit in the front row like this. You know, as if to say, try to teach me something. These are the kids who have a negative attitude. I gave them the same goals and they throw them out and they say, not on your life. And they set up other goals that are not appropriate. I'm going to sleep in this class, or I'm going to read books, or worse yet, I'm going to bug the teacher. Now, do they have a positive attitude toward those goals? Yes. Do they motivate themselves? Yes. Do they act? You bet. And what happens? These then are the youngsters who become very successful at creating a life experience that becomes dissatisfying. It's called F. Please note, this is the effect. The cause is here with the choices that the students made. All the years I was teaching and kids were getting these failing grades, I heard this. It's this dumb course. It's the teacher. It's the school. It's the students. It's my parents. All the problems are out there. So where's the problem? Right. And you know, my dear friends, this is a serious issue in our society today because we're not being taught that we are responsible for our lives. I hear people say, let my parents take care of it. Or the parents say, let the school take care of it. Or let the church take care of it. Or let my boss take care of it. And then they wonder why they have dissatisfying lives. You know, I think it's very important for us to teach youngsters, and now even oldsters, that they can indeed be in control of their lives. If they understand how this works, then they will also understand that I can be in control of my life. Now, you know, unfortunately, our society isn't teaching that. You know, my brother Joe was married, and he and his wife had a neighborhood pub. Very successful. People came there for lunch in the evenings. Families came. No, it was really a wonderful gathering place. And they had a very successful business until somewhere in the United States, a young man went out drinking, got himself very drunk, and on the way home got into a serious automobile accident, and he sued the people who sold him the drink. I don't know if you remember this. But he won. And my brother and his wife said, we're getting out of this business. We're not going to be picking up the responsibility for the people who are coming into this establishment to drink. So they sold the place. More recently, after that, you know, if you take a cup of very hot coffee and put it between your legs and spill it, that's not your fault. It's the fault of the people who made the coffee. You know, this is really ridiculous. You know, I look at what's going on here in the United States, and when I get to Europe, the people in Europe think that we're crazy because we put all the responsibility out there. We don't pick the responsibility up. Now, before I finish this, I want to put in two theological ideas because I want to show you how this fits into traditional religion. Theologians have criticized me for teaching spirituality like this. And they would insist that I use more theological terms. For example, instead of talking about goals, they would insist that I talk about God's will. Same reality, just different words. And here, instead of talking about attitudes, they would insist that we use the term faith. Again, same reality, just different words. Well, this makes sense. The theologians know that what God wants for every single one of you is that which will give you the highest fulfillment. That's what God wants. If you can go into the quiet, turn your attention inward, and become aware of the divine presence that's with you all the time, and just listen, God will give you direction. If you make that your goal, you will have all the fullness of life that Jesus talked about. Now, if you want to look for examples of people whose faith was expressed in positive attitudes, look at the lives of the saints. I don't know if you know the story of St. Lawrence. He was martyred by being put on a gridiron, and he was burned alive. And the people who watched that execution tell us, in the middle of that experience, he shouted out, "Hey, turn me over, I'm done on this side." Now, how can somebody be joking at a time like that? Very simple. Lawrence knew that very soon he was going to go through the door of death. And on the other side of that door, he was going to have all the fullness that he had looked forward to, all this earthly existence. When he put all of his attention there, the experience of pain here fell away. Do you know that today the medical profession understands this reality, and they are using it in stress centers all over the country? You know, if somebody has a chronic back pain, they hook them up to a machine. It's called biofeedback. And the machine may beep very loud and very fast, and they tell the person who's attached to the machine, look, if you start relaxing, you can get the machine to slow down and get quiet. See if you can turn it off. As these people put more and more of their concentration on that machine, the experience of pain here falls away. It's exactly the same thing. Now, this is what I describe as the life mechanism. It works for you every day. In one direction, if you make one set of choices. In another direction, if you make another set of choices. The choices are always yours. And this is the subject of the first chapter of my book called Success, Full Living. Now, in order for you to remember these words, okay, I've created a little verse that goes like this. Choosing goals and attitudes motivates toward action. Now success is part of life filled with satisfaction. Can we do that together? Choosing goals and attitudes motivates toward action. Now success is part of life filled with satisfaction. Now, can you take everything off your lap and stand up, please? We're just going to do a little bit of physical activity before we move into the next session. Can you get to a place where you can see me and then follow my directions. You can move anywhere, wherever you need to, okay? So we're doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, can you count with me, please? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, just a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. You can shake your hips if you want. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we're going to do those hand motions and use the words I just gave you. Okay? So it goes like this. Choosing goals and attitudes motivates toward action. Now success is part of life, filled with satisfaction. Can we do that one more time? Choosing goals and attitudes motivates toward action. Now success is part of life, filled with satisfaction. Bravo! Now you may sit down. Any comment?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Yes.
Okay, choosing your goals. To me, that's always been the hard part. Is, okay, yeah, there's a lot of things out there, and really figuring it out, and it's like, what if I choose it and it's not really what I want to do?
This is why meditation is so important, and that's where I'm going right now. If you are making choice from the meditative state, you will never make a mistake. That's why meditation is so